This video is perfect for the first-time buyer, but it's not just for the first-time buyer. It's also a great refresher for those moving into larger homes or downsizing. It won't include every step because that would overwhelm most people, and different states have different requirements. Instead, this is meant to provide you with a bird's eye view. Your agent, title escrow, and lender will keep you up to speed with minor details as the transaction progresses. This video is for those of us who don't like to march blindly into large financial decisions. If you haven't already found a good realtor, it may be time. A good realtor can help you find the right lender, which is step 2. Of course, now I can't speak for all realtors, but I can tell you what I do. And once you're armed with a pre-approval letter, I like to sit down with you for about 15 minutes and just talk. We talk about why you're moving and determine any deadlines if you have them. I ask you what your likes and your dislikes are in a home and in a realtor, and I take a ton of notes, and this process helps me help you. And many of my clients, it helps them narrow down their search and discover what really matters to them. Oh, and this might be the best part. Working with me as a buyer's agent is completely free. And if they like me, they'll guarantee you cash savings of at least $10,000. Details at nickburt.org. After choosing a realtor, the next thing you should do is talk to a lender. If you already own your home, then your current lender might be a good place to start. Different lenders are good at different things, however. Some are better at getting you the low and no down payment loans. Others are better at helping self-employed people get a loan when maybe they don't have all their paperwork in order. And of course, there's lenders who specialize in working with people who have no or bad credit. Now, most of the time, a credit score of 580 is all that's needed to get an FHA loan at 3.5% down, but not always. And the right lender will help introduce you to credit repair people if needed and keep in touch until the timing is right for you. If you're not sure where to begin your lender search, ask a realtor. We work with lenders often and know who's good at what, who's available when you need to talk, and who isn't. Now, I say talk to a lender first because they can tell you exactly how much home you can afford and what your monthly payments will be. So please don't use one of those online calculators. They can't lock in an interest rate for you like a lender can, and they don't include principal, interest, taxes, and insurance in the monthly payment estimate. Mortgage insurance is a requirement only for certain types of loans. It's usually those with low or no down payment, but not always. As a general rule, lenders will want to see that your mortgage payment will be less than 1/3 of your total monthly earnings, but I've seen them go up to 50. Knowing what you qualify for will protect you from the disappointment that comes from getting emotionally attached to homes outside of your price range. And getting that pre-approval letter from the lender will make your offer appear stronger when you find the right home. Once you're pre-approved and we have a clear picture of exactly the home you want, I enter your wish list into my proprietary software and get you set up with instant alerts. My database links directly to the MLS, which allows you to see new listings and price reductions within minutes, which is much faster than most third-party sites. I also open up the binder on my desk and cross-check your wants with my database of upcoming sellers whose properties haven't even hit the market yet. And I do this because you buying one of these unlisted properties means a quick sale for them and less competition for you. If you're interested in new construction, a good realtor can show you where to buy homes with interest rates way below the national average. They can show you where to search bank repos and government foreclosures. You see, when you leverage the power of an agent who spends all day, every day searching for properties, options open up for you that you never knew existed. The next step is to go tour some homes. You can do this on your own or streamline and simplify the process as described. So when you see a home you like, you don't want to call the number on the sign. That number is the listing agent's phone number. The listing agent is legally, morally, and contractually obligated to represent the best interest of the seller. That's not you. Many states allow for something called a dual agency, where the listing agent can represent both buyer and seller. But this arrangement makes it impossible for the dual agent to fight for you, since doing so would not be good for the seller. In most transactions, the seller has a professional in their corner, and it's highly recommended that you do the same. When you see a home that you like, and after you've cruised the neighborhood and you liked what you saw, then you call a realtor and arrange a private showing. Bonus points for choosing a realtor who's available on the evenings and weekends when you are. Speed is important when you find the right home. Most offers come in over the weekend and get reviewed on Monday. If you can, you want to get your offer submitted before the weekend. And you just can't get that done with a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 realtor. A good realtor can have an offer prepared for you and submitted the same night. On underpriced and other desirable properties, it pays to move fast. For first-time buyers and thorough second and third-time buyers, I like to meet up and go over the offer together. Most realtors use standardized forms created by the National Association of Realtors or the local MLS, so they're very familiar with them, and going over the forms shouldn't take long. When we go over the forms together, you get to see all of the contingencies and obligations. You'll see how long you have to fulfill your side of the agreement, and you'll understand all the ways that you have to exit the agreement and keep your deposit. After the quick review, your offer is sent over to the seller's agent along with your pre-approval letter so the sellers know you're serious and a qualified buyer. Having this letter can help tip the scales in your favor if the home is underpriced and the sellers receive multiple offers. Serious offers will always include a deposit called earnest money. If you buy the home, the earnest money is applied towards the purchase price at closing. Earnest money is typically 1% of the purchase price, but I've seen it be higher or lower. Earnest money is designed to protect the seller from unnecessary carrying costs caused by the buyers who are not serious. If you decide to buy a home without using a buyer's agent, there are a couple of contingencies that you need to be aware of so that you can make sure they end up in your purchase and sale agreement. This might be one of the most important things you're about to hear today. If you wander on a new construction site or call the number on the sign, these agents who help you, they don't have to write the offer up subject to inspection or subject to you obtaining financing. Before I was an agent, I had other agents do both to me. Without these contingencies, you agree to buy the home as is, and you'll forfeit the earnest money if something happens or if your credit or employment changes and the lender can't do the loan. After hearing about contingencies, a lot of people want to see the addendums. If you'd like to see an inspection addendum, financing addendum, well, solar, or septic addendum, message me or give me a call at the number below and I'll send you some so that you can see what they look like. Okay, so you submitted an offer with pre-approval letter and contingencies in place, and the seller said yes. You or your agent will also need to submit the fully signed copy of the purchase and sale agreement to the escrow officer and the lender, and then schedule your inspection. Like lenders and realtors, inspectors come in all different shapes and sizes. If you haven't subscribed and you're finding all this helpful, consider subscribing, because soon I'll be putting out another video about the different types of home inspections and home inspectors and what to look for in an inspector. In the meantime, look for an inspector that guarantees their work. There are inspectors who will buy your home back if they miss anything during your inspection. Negotiating repairs. So home inspections should capture every defect, and this list can appear long and daunting to a lot of first-time buyers, and it's totally understandable. The fact is that even new homes will have a huge list of minor defects after a thorough inspection. How much you ask the seller to do for repairs will depend on several things. Usually, it doesn't hurt to ask for having it all done until it does. Some sellers believe that they've priced their home fairly, and by this point, a lot of them have come down on price or agreed to pay some of your closing costs. And if you ask for all, they might reject it all, and I've seen it happen. If this is just an investment property for you, then maybe you should just walk away if they don't fix it all. But if this is the right home for you in the right neighborhood and it checked most of your boxes, it might be worth considering a more reasonable approach. I always ask for the medium to large repairs and then point two things out to the sellers. First, there's a good chance the lender's going to want these things fixed anyway. And second, there are plenty of repairs that we overlooked in the spirit of cooperation. This works most of the time, but not always. Depending on how your agreement is written, you should have a couple of days to decide what you'd like to do if they decide to reject all of your requests for repairs. Other inspections. Within the first 10 days, you'll receive information about wells, pools, and solar systems if applicable. You'll also receive a seller disclosure form where the seller discloses any defects they are aware of on the property. If your contact was well written, you'll be given a certain number of days to accept or reject the home based on what you see. You should also receive and have time to review a comprehensive loss underwriting exchange report or CLUE report. This is a report of insurance claims made on the property by the seller within recent years. Preliminary title report. Sellers often include a basic title insurance policy with the sale, which is insurance against unreported easements, liens, and unreported claims to title. You'll get a preliminary title report early on, which should be reviewed carefully because it contains exceptions to your coverage. If there are recorded liens or easements on the property, they'll show up in this preliminary report. You have to address them during this period because these listed items will not be covered in the insurance policy. You'll be asked to sign something saying that you reviewed this preliminary report, so make sure you read it. You might not like the easements or liens that come with the property. The appraisal. Just after your inspection period, your lender will send an appraiser to determine the value of the home, mostly to make sure you're not overpaying for a home, since people are more likely to walk away from mortgages when they find themselves upside down, and the lender doesn't want that. The lender also checks for structural damage and safety hazards on the property at the same time. If the home is found to be worth less than you offered to pay, or if it's in need of major repairs, they'll want these things fixed before they'll fund. Now, how this is handled varies, and your options vary as well depending on how your agreement was worded. Now, if it's done right, you can exit the contract with a full refund of your earnest money. If there's no appraisal contingency, you might lose that earnest money. Alternately, the seller could lower the price and make the repairs, or the buyer could pay the difference in cash and make the repairs, or some combination of these things can happen as needed to get the property to a financeable condition. Next comes the closing, recording, and getting the keys. After the inspection and appraisal and all other contingencies have been lifted, you can move towards closing. The lender will clear you to close and provide you with payment instructions, usually a wire transfer. They'll also provide you with a closing disclosure form that you can use to compare your actual final charges with the estimated cost that the lender will provide you with early in the transaction. Several days before closing, you should also do a final walkthrough on the property to make sure that the sellers have completed all the repairs and that the property is in the same condition that it was on the day of your inspection. On the day of closing, your payment will process, the title will record, and you'll get the keys to your new home. If you found this video helpful, then I'm sure you'll find my book, Your Guide to Purchasing a Home, even more helpful. Download your free copy using the link in the description. Now, if you're watching this and you'd like my help finding your next home, message me or give me a call at the number below. Thanks for watching.